David here with Figboot on Pens. Generally on my channel, I post one fountain pen review a week, and I've done that for a while now. But there's lots of other topics that I'd like to cover, but I really don't feel like skipping a week of doing a review. So going forward, not every week, maybe every other week or so, I plan to post an additional video that might cover a number of different topics. Things like ink reviews or brand comparisons or individual pen comparisons, maybe some more top 10 lists, things along those lines. There's many things that can be covered. So to begin with, I've received a number of questions in regard to storage and pen storage and ink storage. So today I wanted to share with you how I store my collection, and it might give you some ideas on how to store your own collection. So here we go. Let's take a look at how I store my pens. To start off with, here's my my battle station here on my desk. I actually have two different computers here. On my first few reviews, I kept my monitors on in the background because I thought it'd be neat to have different wallpapers and things like that that would be visually interesting to look at. But then after a little bit, realized that it was kind of more distracting than anything else, and so now I turn them off. I said I actually have two computers. I have it where you can have one computer with two monitors, or I can push the button and have one computer on each monitor. After a second here, there we go. So now it's one computer on each. Or turn it back to one computer with two monitors. So I always like having my little computer toys. So in regard to storage, the first thing is over here in this cabinet with the Alfred Hitchcock picture. I'm a big movie buff, and I always like this picture of young Alfred Hitchcock and his wife Alma, who played a really big part in his success. But inside here I have a lot of boxes, and these are some of the boxes that I just don't have the heart to throw away, that are some of the nicer boxes, like this King of Pens box is a really nice wood box, a couple of Pelican boxes that I just don't have the heart to throw away. And eventually, once I review some of these pens, I might get rid of the boxes, but these are the ones that are a little on the larger side that I don't really feel like giving up right now. The first thing is, we'll just call it the my lesser quality pens that aren't necessarily my favorite. I have this 48 pen case. I have a couple of these, and these are the ones that are the least favored pens, and so they belong in this 48 pen case. One of these days I think I'll do a video on pens I regret buying, and there's quite a few in here that would make that list. So there's a lot that I regret buying in there, but then again, when you're going along a pen journey, you need to buy a lot of terrible pens in order to understand what a good pen is and what you really like. Oh, down here, I actually am preparing a review for these Mach-E pens. And then here's actually a tactile turn Gist that I recently purchased that's kind of nice. And I sold the pen, and it's going in the mail tomorrow. So, the next thing I have is kind of where I keep my favorite pens, which I have a very nice 24 pen case here. Let me just bring it down here. And this is where I keep my favorite pens, and the ones that I feel are the most special. And I always am a little melancholy and it's bittersweet when I have to kick a pen out of here because I purchased one that I like just a little bit better, and it gets relegated to other storage. Like I have my Newton that I just recently reviewed here, this Newton, and it's too large to fit in here, and so that's why it has its pen case, which but it still sits up here on the high shelf. In the background, you might have noticed someone gave me a pen of the day jar, and so that's usually when I have a different pen I take to work each day, and that's where I put the pen. And tomorrow's is a Platinum 3776 Chartreuse Blue. So that's what I will be taking to work tomorrow. So over here, we'll try to get the light to show up a little bit better. But Over here is usually where when I clean pens, I usually set them on this shelf to dry. And then I have a number of magnets here, and those are just kind of from my travels in different places I've been and just collected over the years, and some things from pen companies like Cara Customs and Goulet Pens and Van Ness, as well as just some things from my travels. Up here, let's see, recently I placed an order with Papier Plume out of New Orleans, and they included some beads in there, and so I just have the beads hanging. And then this was a bookmark that was included in an Edison pen order, so that was nice as well. And then I actually have a couple of fountain pen books, a couple of Andy Lambro's fountain pen books, which I'd highly recommend. They're very, very nice. But now we have my main storage. And let me see if I can get the lights over here a little bit better to see this. But I kind of have two bits of main storage. One is this toolbox. I found this on Amazon, and right now they were selling for maybe around the $85 to $90 range, but I found one for $39.99. So under $40, I found this toolbox, and it's really nice. So on top, we have some more boxes. And unfortunately, the top isn't big enough to hold some inks, and so I have a number of boxes and just some varying paperwork and things like that, and stickers. But then the top opens up here, and I'll give you a better look, but we have a number of different drawers. So like in this drawer, I just have a bunch of cartridges. And then here in this drawer, I have a couple of loops, some syringes, some nice loop glasses. This is a macro lens that I put on an iPhone to take some close-up pictures. Then in the middle drawer here, I have a bulb syringe, can't do without that. Some Q-tips and some ink rags and things along those lines. Then over here, we have mainly some repair supplies, some toothbrush and some shims and some silicone grease, some extra nibs and wrenches. Then below that is converters, so just a wide variety of a bunch of different brands of converters. And then in this drawer I have some Montblanc ballpoints. And the story with these goes that these were pretty much my very first nice pens that I owned. And I basically have 3 of these Montblanc ballpoints and have not purchased a single one. So this first one was given to me, and I had mentioned to someone that offhand that I was looking to purchase one of these, and she said, you know what, I have one. I found it in my driveway. It's not in good shape, but you can have it. It's too big for me. So she gave it to me, and it was extremely beat up. It was almost like someone ran it over with a car. It was cracked and just in terrible shape. But it was a Montblanc. It was my first, and I really loved it. And the place I worked, the owner saw that I had the pen and said, hey, you know what, you can send that back to Montblanc and they will refurbish it for you. But I really didn't feel like giving up my pen I just acquired, and so she ended up saying, hey, you know what, here, I'll give you this black one, and so you can send off your maroon one, and that I could use it while it was sent off. Then what happened is that they sent the pen back to me, and it was going to cost more to fix it than the pen was actually worth at the time. So I went to give the black one back to her, and she just told me to keep it. So then I had 2. And as far as the third one goes, that years ago I was working a winter in a bookstore, and a customer left it, and I held it behind the counter for quite some time, and no one ever came to claim it, so I ended up with the third one. And then actually recently I sent this one back to be refurbished. So one of these days I might sell those 3 because they really don't get much use, but for right now I keep them just for sentimental purposes. Then we have a drawer here that has some of the nicer pens, to where we have a bunch of deltas, some vanishing points, some Faber-Castells, some Sailors, some Pelicans. And then we have some Lammies, another Edison. This is one of the Visconti traveling inkwells, a glass pen that I use when I do writing the ink samples. Now, after that, I kind of outgrew this case. So my storage recently expanded, so it's kind of spread out a little bit more. But I purchased this other case down here from IKEA. It's called the Alex briefcase. This one was called the Trinity. I can't remember if I mentioned that. If you look for a Trinity wood toolbox, you'll be able to find that. And this is the Alex drawer system. And we have a number of pens here. We have a bunch of Lammies. We have all of the Twisbys. And then I got some drawer liners as well to fit these. Then we have another shelf with a bunch of parallels and some other miscellaneous pens. Then the next drawer down, we have paper. And that I just have loads of paper. Most of it's Rhodia. This is some Tomoe River. Here's a nice currently inked from Matt Armstrong. The paper on these is very nice. I would highly recommend those. Then I have a bunch of journals. Whenever I would get a pen, I kind of journal it and give my initial impressions, and so and use different inks. And so I just kind of write about every one of the pens in here. And maybe, who knows, maybe one day that'll end up getting on a blog. And then I have some of these Nemesine word cards, which I put the ink samples on. Unfortunately, I believe these have been discontinued, and they're very hard to buy, find. When I first found them, I bought 2, and I wish I would have bought more. But they, like, here's what they look like with the ink on them, and they're just really nice, and the paper's really good and behaves well for ink samples. Then we have some ink. Now, I will admit, I need to do a better job of organizing this. I mean, I have all of my Iroshizukus together, but then the rest of it is just kind of in here, and there's really no rhyme or reason to where everything is. But I don't like the fact that I have to set some of these on their sides. It just makes me nervous, because one of these days I feel like I'm not going to screw a lid on tight enough and end up with a whole drawer full of ink. But we have a whole bunch of different inks in here. Nice Terra Firma from Franklin Christoph. A nice, this is a St. DuPont. A little on the shallow side in regard to the bottle. The ink is nice, and it was very expensive, but the bottle is not very useful. Similar to the Sailor bottles, which are very good ink, but the bottles are just terrible as far as actually using. Then we have another drawer full of ink. I have a lot of ink samples and a bunch of vials. We have a bunch of these glass bottles, which you can pick up from Anderson pens, which are nice because when you have inks like these toucans, which come in these pouches, or some of the Sailors, it's nice to put them in this bottle, and then you can use them very easily. And then in the bottom, I just have some more pen boxes, and I think as I end up doing reviews on each of these boxes, then they will go away, or I'll hold on to them, and if I decide to sell off some of my collection, it would be nice to be able to keep the box in there as well. So there you go. I just wanted to kind of give an overview of how I kind of keep my pens stored, and hopefully this gives you some ideas as far as how you can store your collection as well, whether it's 1 pen or 100, having a nice place to put them, whether it's a single stand or a huge toolbox, it always makes your collection feel that much nicer. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later.